Welcome to the Joy Club. I'm Emily McCarthy, and this is a space created from the very heart of what inspires me most, joy in all its forms. If there's one thing you can count on here, it's that joy will lead the way. Cheers to you. We're so glad you're here.
Welcome to the Joy Club podcast. I'm Julia Barrett, and I'm the Director of Business and Brand Development at Emily McCarthy, and I'll be your host today. While many of you know Emily as the founder and creative force behind Emily McCarthy, I've had the privilege of knowing the person behind the brand for a long time. Emily and I have been friends for 17 years. We've talked through a lot of life together, marriage, motherhood, career changes, celebrations, and challenges, and now the adventure of building this brand together. Don't worry, Emily, I promised I wouldn't bring out any of the pictures of us from 15 years ago, at least not for this episode. The goal of the Joy Club podcast is simple: to have meaningful conversations about life, business, growth, and the things that bring us joy. So today we're starting with the woman whose vision started it all. Emily, welcome to the Joy Club podcast.
Happy to be here.
Let's have a little cheers.
Today?
This is one of your favorites.
Joy Club tradition.
Cheers.
We are drinking a crispy Sancerre.
Ooh, that is good.
I love
delicious.
a Sancerre. I was very glad someone introduced it to me.
Is this your drink of choice?
Definitely spring, summer. Like a very seasonal wine drink.
Yes.
I love a crispy white or a rosé when it's warm. Of course, in Savannah, that's the majority of the year. But
9 months out of the year.
Season change in the fall, I'm like, give me like a good. I like a Cab, a Malbec, but I don't drink as much white and rosé like in the fall.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Although I
think
could
I'm
drink rosé year round.
True.
That's my go-to.
But something about like pushing the seas, even though it's still hot here, I'm like determined to make it feel more like fall.
Oh yeah, it'll be like 90 degrees.
The
I'm like,
wine
it's
reflects
time for
that.
red, even though we're sweating to death.
Right. That's a good one though.
Well, welcome. Most people know the brand, but not everyone knows the story behind the brand. So I've got a few questions we're going to start with. When you think back to the beginning, what did life look like before Emily McCarthy, the brand, existed?
I'm starting the podcast with That's so great. I love that for me. Before Emily McCarthy, I was working for other brands, and it was interesting it was very beneficial to start my career like working for other people. I think so many creatives want to graduate college and, start their own business or be their own, maker. And I can't imagine doing it that way because there was so much that I learned working for other people and working for two very different sized companies, a little similar in ways, but I learned what it was like to run a very small boutique business that not only had retail, but also produced a product and shipped it. So it had multiple legs of that brand. And then moving towards a larger brand that had so many locations and learning what it was like to scale.
And at a corporate level, too.
Yes, at a corporate level. So it was very, at the moment, I didn't think I was getting all this knowledge out of it. It was just like these jobs that I had. And
but it was almost like your building blocks of not even realizing what you were getting out of it.
I truly did not I don't think I appreciated how much I was learning at the time. And I think that's just part of growing up. Like these jobs you have right out of college and you're trying to make your way through the world and learning how to live on your own and all of that. But it's like looking back, there were so many valuable lessons that I had. Learning what I wanted to do and what I didn't want to do. And I was working for one of those when we moved to Savannah, and we got married 20 years ago, which is crazy.
Almost 20 years, right?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And
that's a long time.
When we moved here, I was able to keep my job and work from home, but I really wasn't getting out into Savannah as much as I wanted to. But when I started doing that, I realized I could really build my own business of design work. And creating a product that I was proud of creatively, that
Right.
wasn't stemming from someone else's idea.
You kind of found like a hole in the market too, I feel like. And you brought a lot of that from the company you worked for at the time. That was more of a
Yeah.
corporate type thing, but you were able to bring that to Savannah, that we didn't have anything like that. Which is how Emily and I actually met. Is she did some of my wedding invitations and shower invitations and things like that. So that's how we met 17 years ago, because there wasn't anything like that in Savannah. And so you kind of found that niche in the market and brought that here, and were able to kind of take that on as your own thing for a while, which is really cool.
I loved invitations, and the two companies I worked for before were in the stationery realm. And so that's just naturally where I went with it. And there wasn't anyone doing custom invitations. And it was really fun to bring that here, and that be the stamp on the community that I was making. Of course, it's funny to see like where life has brought us now, but it was, and still is, a passion of mine, just not where necessarily the brand has taken us, in a lot of good ways too. So, but before Emily McCarthy, that was it.
And it's funny, it's kind of like, it wasn't part of my plan to ask you this, but since we touched on it, I think that's such an interesting thing. I remember when we kind of decided to give up some of that customized, personalized things. It was a hard decision for you. I think you were still kind of holding on to it because it was what you were familiar with, what you were comfortable with, what your initial passion was.
Right.
And I remember us deciding the clothing is taking up so much time. You don't have time for this anymore. But that was a hard decision for you.
It was such a hard thing to let go of, because I felt like that was so much of my identity as a creative, and that's what people knew me for. At that time, they did not know me as an apparel designer.
Right.
Like, they thought, oh, she does stationery monograms. And that was a great part of the story, but that wasn't where
Wasn't the end of the story.
No, it wasn't the end of the story. It turns out it was the very, very beginning. And it's funny to think about what we were doing for customers then and how that translates to now. It's really not that different in a way, because I was designing things and helping customers find their signature style with their own stationery and entertaining. Like, what statement were they trying to make? And every customer was so different in how the types of paper and the colors that they picked. And that became the way that they identified themselves, like in our social circles. And so now it's translated to clothing doing the same
thing. I think
it
helped you understand to listen to your customer, because I think that's probably a lot of times a piece that's missing in fashion, is that you're not really listening to the customer. You're just kind of designing what you like or what is trending. And I think that probably set the foundation for you, that you had to listen to the customers when it came to stationery and that kind of things, because you were designing based on what they liked.
Yes.
And so that kind of,
Oh my
I feel like
gosh,
that created such a great foundation for you.
It really did. I never.
I know. I didn't really either until I just thought of it.
No, it's so true. I was, like when you're working for customers and doing personalized, it's like you don't always get to do exactly what you want to do, but like listening to them and what's going to make them feel happy about the end result and confident in the product that they receive. And that's still what we do today.
Yeah.
I mean, I get to walk into our flagship and see how, our poppy dress is fitting our customer, and whether she wants it to be a little longer or a little shorter, or loves the drapey fabric versus the crisp cotton that we did for spring. So it's, it really is so much of the same.
It really is. And you wouldn't think that they would be the same. It felt like two very different worlds, the apparel and the personalized. But really, like I said, it was kind of the groundwork for us understanding our customer and like what she wants and what she's interested in and what designs she likes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I already know the answer to this question because you're a very much go by your gut kind of person, but were there moments you almost talked yourself out of this, out of building this brand, out of scaling like you have? But I already know the answer to this because that's not your personality.
When I decide to do it, I'm like committed and I'm like determined to make it work. And it's not a choice. Like, this is just what we're doing. And it's never an option to like, there's going to be things that we design or colors that we select or programs that we want to invest in that aren't always as successful as we want them to be. But I don't look at that as failure. I look at that as like, what have we learned from this? And how can we make adjustments for the next collection that our customer responds to better? I was definitely a little gun shy about the project of like our current headquarters. Like it was definitely the biggest step I ever took, but I knew it was necessary. And so that's what ended up giving me the peace of mind that it was the right decision, that where the business was and where our team was, like we didn't have a choice but to take that next step. And it was exactly what we needed.
Even though I tried to talk you out of
yeah.
it. Even though I was like, this building is too, this
Julia,
is not going to work.
We're going to go drive by this building. I think I'm going to get for us. And I drove her by and she's like, oh, yeah, I mean, she's such a positive person. You're like, yeah, I mean, I'm
sure
totally
it's gonna be
see
great.
it. Like, she was like a swan on the surface. Like, yeah, this is going to be great. And underneath her like feet were just
I was like, oh my gosh, what
is
in the world? She's like, can you just picture it? And I'm like, no, actually, I can't. I'm actually terrible at that. Like, I cannot picture the vision. I think you even drew it up on your computer and you were like, look, this is what it's going to look like. And I was like, okay, that's better. This is not what I was picturing, but this is way better.
Yeah, it was definitely an eyesore. And
it was.
Funny, a lot more square footage than what we thought we needed. But then it's like when you move from a smaller house to a bigger house,
oh my gosh.
You're like, how did we fit in the smaller house before?
100%. Once we moved everything in here, I was like, is this big enough?
How were we functioning?
Do we have enough space? I'm not sure how we were functioning before.
I don't know either. But yeah, to answer your question, I'm just sort of very determined to make it work.
You are. I knew the answer to that one. Okay, what is something you've learned about yourself through building this business?
I have learned that there are things that I'm not great at, and there are things that I don't enjoy doing. Some of them are necessary evils, and it's not just accepting that, but getting the tools to help myself be better at those areas. I mean, I'm a creative and an entrepreneur at heart, so no one ever taught me how to manage people or be super clear about communications, because as a creative, like, there's thoughts in my head all the time, and I'm not always like clear in the way that those come out.
We could just jump into your head and find those thoughts.
I really wish people could live in my head, because it would make
life a lot easier.
Yeah. So there's been things that I've had to really learn and teach myself, and bring in experts to help me get there and help our team get there. So I love knowing that I'm growing and pushing myself, even at this point in my career and the age that I'm at, that I'm not done yet, and I still have a lot of learning to grow, to like go through. So I think learning that just being a creative is not enough. Like, you have to.
I think just always knowing that there's room for growth. I think that's like huge. And I think, we're both in our 40s, and understanding that I still have room for growth. It's not like I know everything at this point. There's still a ton of stuff I don't know. And I think that's just part of life, is realizing that. And it's hard, because there's times where you're like, oh, I already know that. But being open-minded to the fact that like you don't know it all, and there's still room to learn.
Brought. Like, looking back when I was in my 20s and 30s, I just felt like I knew it all and everything I need to know. And like, as I've gotten older, learning to really embrace what you don't know, and like the wisdom that comes with just life experience. And
I think that's confidence too, is like admitting that like you don't necessarily know everything. So it's okay to admit that, and be confident in finding the right people that can help you with the things that you don't know, or the things you aren't good at.
Yeah. And just surrounding yourself with, like, I've realized like there are things that I'm not great at, and so we need to hire the people that are great at those things, so that I can focus on the things that I'm good at. And I think that's how we've built our team.
Yeah, I do too. We
You're
have a
so
great
great
team.
At the things.
We're each other's yin and yang, that's for sure.
Very much so. Julia
balance
has
each
such
other.
a listening ear, and has the patience for things that I'm usually moving too fast.
But
to
that's kind of
stop
what you
and
have
think.
to have. You have to have your yin and yang to each
Yeah.
other.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's something beautiful that you learned the hard way? So something in the business maybe that you learned the hard way, but has now turned out to be something
I think
beautiful.
having a lot of grace for myself. When I first had our son, I had a close friend of mine who was also a business owner and a new mom, but her kids were a little older. And she knew how much I loved to accomplish in a day, like very high functioning, like to-do lists, long to-do lists, wanted all of it to be done by the end of the day and very much deadline driven. And she's like, you're going to have to lower your expectations and give yourself grace. Like instead of thinking that you're going to get these 10 things done in a day, I want you to reduce the list to like 3. Because otherwise you're going to...
Well, you're just going to end up beating yourself up because you're like, I didn't get all this done.
Like you didn't accomplish what you wanted to and feeling deflated. And then you're going to be frustrated, that you didn't have enough time in the day.
Right.
And then you're going to like not enjoy the day the way that
And you and I both do this. Emily and I both live by like a long list and a short list. So I have my like short to-do list that is things that I know I can accomplish in a day or a week. And then my long list is just ongoing tasks, which is something I know you do too. And I feel like that helps me so much to really see it and know like these are the things I'm not planning on getting this accomplished this week.
Right.
It might be 2 months from now, but I know I'm working towards that every day and they're still there and they still need to be done.
Right. I love a list because there's a lot of, running this business and having 2 very busy kids and the stage that we are in life, the mental load is very heavy.
Yes.
There's a lot of things living up there. There's, about payroll. There's what is our next step for the business. There's little things like,
Did I remember the swim bag today?
Did I remember the swim bag? Yeah. I mean, there's the mental load in general for women is just really heavy. And so that's why I love a list because I feel like as much as I can take out of my head and out of my mental load and put it on a list that I can look at,
100%.
it just helps me. That's what, if someone asks me to, hey, will you send me this or will you remember to do this later? I'm like, nope.
Send me an email.
Won't. You need to send me an email. Because an email, like my inbox is my to-do list. Yeah. And if it's not living in there or written down on my list, it is literally gone from my mind.
Wouldn't it be great if you could just get the kids on board with that too?
Yeah,
like be like, hey, y'all just send me an email and I'll make sure I pick you up from practice.
No, as we know, they're just obsessively texting us the same thing over and over again.
Yes, 100%. I was on Friday, I was here and my phone was blowing up and I looked down at my phone and I was like, oh my gosh, I hope they're okay. And they were like, can you add money in my green light card? I'm like, okay, I thought there was like an emergency, but sure, let me. And to them, that was an emergency.
Yeah.
They needed money right then.
Yes. It is not. And we need to define what emergency is.
I know. I'm like,
from
okay,
mother to child.
We need to talk a little bit more about this because I was in a meeting and then I was stressed.
Right. And then I was panicked that you
thought
were not
something was
okay.
wrong and all they needed was money.
Right.
Typical.
Yeah,
typical.
Very, very
okay, so got a few questions about behind the brand. So Emily McCarthy has become known for joy, color, and confidence. Was that intentional from the beginning or something you sort of discovered along the way?
I think it was something that was naturally me. And so I've always wanted this brand to feel very authentic to myself. That's how it started with my own personal touch and style and just what I also felt like was missing in the industry at the time that we started. I think I've really learned that people sometimes are scared of color and scared of print because it doesn't feel as safe.
Right.
And maybe that comes to the level of like knowing your confidence and how confident you are in yourself, like your inner confidence, and knowing what I love watching is when someone puts on like a bright pink dress that they were like, I've never worn pink. I'm scared of it. I'm too petite. It's too much color. And we're like, no, just try it on. And then just see their face.
I love that. When I can convince someone to try something on that they would never normally choose, and then they just light up. And it's like my favorite thing. Like, I'm like, I love it so much. I'm like, it's the best feeling.
Yeah. And I love when I see them later and they're like, you know what? Like that hot pink dress that you convinced me to get, like every time I wear it, I get like 10 compliments. Like people stop me on the sidewalk or in the store and like, oh my gosh, where did you get that dress? And that's where that confidence,
Yeah.
but like,
I love
how
it.
great do you feel when someone gives you a compliment of like,
And it's funny.
that changes your whole
It does.
day.
And I've tried to get better about it because I've noticed like if I ever am like in the elevator with someone and they like look so great and I tell them, you can just tell like they stand up straighter. They're just like proud.
Yeah.
And I love that. And it's actually something we decided going into this year that we really wanted to start and be intentional about is Emily and I and the whole team get so many notes from customers that are like, oh my gosh, I wore this dress to this, and I got so many compliments. And so we started creating them into little quotes that we share every once in a while on our social media and emails. And it's just great because it's like we never get tired of reading those.
No,
so
we don't.
we
because
love to hear them.
Spend all this time producing this product and it goes out the door and then like we never know the journey of this
Right.
garment. So like to get those stories back just brings it full circle. I mean, that's the whole reason we're doing this and why the brand is where it is today, because that is impacting so many women.
And we love being a part of those moments in their
Yes.
life. I mean, we'll get teary-eyed sometimes when it's, a mother of the bride or the groom or baby shower and they've worn it for these special moments and just then they send us a picture or a note about it and we're like, oh my gosh, we were a part of that.
And women have so many journeys throughout their body image. Like you're young and you're feeling your best and then you have your first baby.
Yeah.
And your body
You're
changes.
not feeling your best.
You're not feeling your best and then you kind of get it back and then you have your second baby and then you get into your 40s and we're approaching menopause and there are lots of I remember 38 was such a weird age of like things were just not what they once were. And then moving into my 40s and the impact that has and then it'll be 50s before we know it and then it just changes every decade and so does the way like your clothes feel.
Yeah. And not really your style, but kind of your style. Like you want certain things covered up more than you did before. Or, we have a lot of our older customers who don't like their arms to show. And so we do have some sleeveless options, but for the most part, a lot of our pieces have sleeves because people like to have their arms covered. And so that just changes.
And it's you can't stop gravity and time and
Wish we could.
whatever we can do to help a woman still feel confident no matter what age is to me our ultimate goal.
Yeah, I agree.
And that brings you joy.
It does. Okay, so you wear a lot of hats: founder, mother, wife, friend. How has motherhood shaped the way you lead? Sometimes we feel like we're mothering about 30 people on a daily basis. It's very similar.
Yeah, it is. And I think it's that grace too of like, because it's taught me to have a lot of grace with myself. I try to have a lot of grace with everyone in my life, whether it's employees and my husband and my parents and my kids. There's always a lot more going on inside than what you see from the outside. And I think as moms, we're always like, okay, no matter what's going on beneath the surface,
together.
and we got to keep it together. The kids still have to get to school. We still have to get to work. We still have to put a face on no matter what's going on.
Right.
And so I think that kind of translates, to all the different hats of like, and what all of us are feeling that there's always something more going on. And I think wearing a lot of hats, it also helps with multitasking.
It does, for sure.
We joke about this, like the amount of things that we get done in a day, it's almost like the more the better. Because if I have too much downtime, like less productive.
That was me this weekend. Like I almost had too much downtime and I was like kind of lazy. I'm like, I actually do better with less time. I can cram more into a day.
We joke like if we only have like 1 hour at home to do all the things that maybe would have normally taken up a whole day. It's like we get it all done in that 1 hour.
Yeah. No, we
definitely like juggling lots of balls in the air at one time. I've learned to multitask.
Okay, so what keeps you grounded when life feels loud?
I think I know, like we're just talking about downtime. I do need like quiet time just to myself, where the noise dies down, where the phone's not going off, and I'm not getting a bazillion texts and emails. Like I do need time where I just like check out for a minute and just don't have the noise.
Yeah.
And whether that's like intentional with a vacation or if it's I've been at work and I get home and the kids are off at activities and Patrick and I are sitting there and just have a glass of wine at 5:00 and sit and just have like downtime, just one-on-one. I need quiet time.
And you're almost like
to balance out
protective
noise.
of that, especially in this season of life, you know, of realizing that that's what you need and that's what fills your cup is huge. Like, because a lot of people don't really know what fills their cup. And so I think knowing that and knowing to protect it, like I think you do a really good job of, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My microphone. I think you do a really good job of that.
Trying to balance it and have time with the kids and time here and time with my husband and you have to check all the boxes.
And only 24 hours in a day.
Patrick hates when he's like, are we just checking the box? I'm like, well, sometimes just where we're at.
Sometimes you have to.
Those boxes do have to be checked.
Yeah.
You do have to have those touch points and because that's what keeps things like grounded.
Right.
I think.
Right. No,
and
I
just
agree
having
with
that
that
inner peace with myself and, protecting my, the spiritual side too I think that gives me a lot of inner peace too.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, what is bringing you the most joy right now? Like, I know that we kind of touched on that, but it could be something so like simple, materialistic if you want, or it could be deeper, but what is bringing you joy currently?
Currently, let's see. Currently, we just have so many like projects going on, like big moves happening, like literal big moves personally and professionally. And so those like energize me. Like I'm like thriving with just all the ideas and creating all the new spaces of what's to come. Even thinking about what a new store will look like, what a new home will look like. Just the ability to like create a new space or surrounding is very exciting.
Yeah, we have some really big, exciting things coming. So I think that that's going to be really fun. It's going to fill up our next couple of months. And it's something that you definitely you love that really does energize you of like creating space.
I get a little bit stagnant when we're not working towards something. When we're just like maintaining or just going through the day to day, I get a little like.
I know even when we moved into this building, we were here for like a month and you were like, okay, what next? I was like, let's just live here for a little bit. Let's just enjoy
I thrive
this.
off of the like
let's
deadline,
just stay
like
here.
under pressure. Like, what do we need to do next? So when it's stagnant, I
You're like, wait,
get a little.
We got to do something. We got to have a plan in place.
It's a serial entrepreneur of me. Yeah.
What is one thing people would be surprised to learn about you?
Probably, this is like the answer always, the one thing people don't know, or like, what is the weird talent that you have?
Oh, yes. We love a weird talent.
Very much was focused on music, a large part of my childhood, probably more so than art. And I really didn't take my first art class till my senior year of high school. Music was a huge part of my life and upbringing with my grandmother. And so I was classically trained in 2 different instruments. And I loved music and still love music. And it wasn't until I took that first art class that I was like,
wait, maybe I like this more.
Actually, like this comes really easily to me. And I think it's just a natural born talent that stems from like my family. And I was like, oh, well, maybe I knew I love music and I love performing as a group, but like the idea of going to college and like majoring in music and being a performer like of just myself like was not.
No, that like terrifies me.
It actually terrified me. Like any kind of music competitions or anything I went to where I had to perform by myself was literally paralyzing.
No.
Which is funny now. I've ended up in a position to where I'm like have to be
right. You're standing in front of large groups
and like speaking to a huge group, which still I'm like. Not what I want to be doing every day, but it is that thing about myself that I have to push myself to do. But yeah, the musical side. So a lot of people.
Okay, what were the instruments?
Piano and flute. Flute translated to then piccolo and other things.
So wild. One of my youngest son at the end of school brought home a recorder.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, can we throw this in the trash?
Yes.
Like I literally was like, I do not want this in my house.
It is very loud. It's not as pleasing to the
No,
ear
there's certain
as
instruments. I
other
mean, if it was a
instruments.
flute, I would maybe
Yeah.
be able to get on board. But a recorder, I was like, no, we are
Yeah,
not about
the
to hot
learning
cross
stage
buttons.
can be a little
Yes.
painful.
I was like, do you have to practice this? He's like, no, they just gave it to us to keep. I was like,
Oh,
great. Then
Love
we're just going to
that.
throw
I
that
always wanted
away.
to learn violin, but I know that my parents would have literally
Oh,
died
that's
with
that's
the
a
like learning process.
that
of
one is a
that.
hard one.
Yeah.
That kind of like makes
I
your
still
skin.
like try to play. I have my grandmother's piano, and I was hopeful that one of our kids would get into music, but not yet. They love music, but they both don't have a lot of time to dedicate to another
and it takes a
hobby.
lot of time. It really does.
Lillian really loves music and singing. I think that's coming through with her dance.
Like a performing side.
Yeah, so I think that's maybe where it went.
Yeah. Okay, so this is now what I'm calling our last pour here. Okay. The word joy is woven into everything we do here. I kind of asked you this because I said, what is bringing you the most joy? But what does joy mean to you? And what does it mean, or what does it look like in your everyday life? So backstory a little bit. Emily's middle name is Joy. So that's sort of where it became our kind of mantra here. And we always want to invite joy into everything we do. We even have that in our tags and all of our clothing. And so it's something we try to live by every day here. And so what does that look like for you?
For every day, I truly think it is like inviting joy into your life. And by that, I mean, it's like finding those moments of something you can laugh at throughout the day, that you can find joy in, that not letting life weigh you down and make your everyday life so heavy that it feels like a burden. And yes, that's normal to feel.
Right.
Like, I'm not saying no
we
one
always
should
say
feel.
pressure's not a bad thing.
Yeah,
pressure's a good
not
thing.
a bad thing. And I think it helps push and drive you and change, help mold your character. But you need to be able to laugh things off too, and be lighthearted about things. And I think joy also comes from just whatever you can do to feel confident too,
I agree. And like we always say, it's so important to give your everything to your job when you're here and to put in 110%. Obviously, we want that, but we always encourage our team to like find joy outside of here too. Like you have to fill all of the cups, or you can't, like they always say, you can't give from an empty cup. So find the joy here at work, but then also find the joy outside of here.
Yeah, and I want people to feel joyful being here, whether it's an employee of us or whether it's a customer walking through the door. The products that we create are supposed to bring you joy, whether it's an ice bucket that we've designed, or a dress for a rehearsal dinner, or a candle that's just that simple moment of you lighting that in your kitchen for the day. And like, that just brings you joy to light a great candle.
That is something that always brings me joy. There's something about lighting a candle and I'm like
a great Sancerre.
Yes.
Like, joy can just be so
It can be simple. And I think sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
especially in this day and age, we've overcomplicated it a little bit, and we've tried to make it to where joy has to be this huge thing, and it really doesn't. It can be the simple things that make you happy.
The other day I was driving to pick up Lillian, and I opened my sunroof and like turned on this great playlist and like cranked the music up, and I was thriving.
Yeah,
like,
you were like,
that's
this
joy
is
to
joy.
me.
Yeah.
Like, just letting the air flow through the car. I don't know, something about the sunshine, and it's just finding like these simple things that can just bring your energy
maybe
up.
when you're in it, you're not even realizing that it's bringing you
Yeah.
joy, but maybe it's more being intentional about realizing those things, those little moments, and being grateful for them.
Yeah.
And finding the gratitude in those
True.
little moments is really what brings joy to
And I
you,
think just like focusing on the positive, I think,
which is
a
something
lot of-
I love to do.
yes. And I think society right now is almost just looking for things wrong and looking for the negative and looking to just not be happy. And I'm like, there's so many things to be happy about too. Like, even when things don't feel like they're going great, or if you don't like what's going on in the world, or even as close as like your neighborhood or your school or anything, but like there are plenty of things to be.
Right.
It's just about like
You have to find
your
it
perspective
sometimes. Yeah.
on it in life and your day, and like going into it with that intention to invite the joy into your life and not push it away.
And I think it's like you said, it's a mindset. And I tell my kids this all the time, that I'm like, you have to like choose that. Like you have to choose that you're not going to go to a negative place.
Yeah.
And you have to choose to be positive and realize that like there is so much good in the world, and you have to like almost find it.
Yeah.
You know, because otherwise this world could really take you down.
It can really take you down. And I think perspective is going to keep you out of it, you know.
I agree.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I have a little button bag here with some fun, like, little questions in it. So, okay, maybe I'll reach in and grab it for you.
Love this.
Oh, this is a fun one. Okay. Dresses or separates?
I love a dress.
I know you do love a dress.
I just think they're comfortable. Again, maybe this is like, I would also think it's just easier.
It's easier. It's one and done.
One and done. Yeah. Great dress, great shoe, you're done. Also just think they're comfortable. I think because, you know, we're probably getting dressed at 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning. We're driving the kids to school. We're coming to work. We're dropping them off at activities. We're then running around. We're, you know, maybe not getting, we're literally gone from our house sometimes for like 12 hours.
And it's also like 90 degrees 9 months out of the year in
and
Savannah.
To me, it's more comfortable to just sit around and move around in a little loose dress all day than it is to have like tight jeans on or tight pants or a tight shirt. Or, like, I just love, like, to me that's, and it looks so effortless.
Oh,
like,
it does.
It just, I know it comes across as like being dressy, but to me it's like
no.
more
And
comfortable
I always say I feel like at work, like I love a dress in my everyday life, and then maybe like on the weekends and outside of work, I'm more of like a separates person because I love like denim or like denim shorts or something like that. I feel like it's a little bit more casual.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think a dress is just the easiest thing all day long.
Easy. And it could be dressed up or down usually.
Yeah.
Like a lot of dresses you can style.
Oh yeah. We love to throw on like either a heel or a wedge or a sneaker. Like we'll dress them up or down all the time.
Yeah.
We love it. Well, cheers. This was so fun. First episode. Love it.
Done.
Cheers.